following podcast contains possibly triggering material and strong language. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the Ride the Rebellion podcast and Craft Show Digital. The material and information presented here is for general information and entertainment purposes only.
Intergalactic planetary.
Somebody's kid, that's their favorite song. They come out, their baseball song they come out to, I don't remember who I was talking to recently, but they tried to get him to do Sabotage because that's a little more badass. And they're like, no.
That's pretty impressive.
I like Intergalactic.
That's impressive, actually.
I think it works. What's up, and welcome to the Ride the Rebellion podcast, the show that just does whatever the hell it wants, whenever it wants. Kind of like, I really just want to be like your mom. Feeling a little spicy after we just had a shoot. We wrapped up, and with me, as always, is the king of the South Alabama Turndown, the man who puts the Frank in Frank Mangella. No one's gonna know that reference. It's Dale Boyd.
I don't even know that reference.
We have almost equal head proportions today, even though I'm out of focus again somehow. I was in focus. How did I get out of focus just seconds ago?
No idea.
You're like nice and crisp.
Yeah, I'm crispy.
Slightly blurry, enough to give someone a headache. Yeah, it's kind of my life.
And everybody, according to statistics, watches this on their television on YouTube.
Ah, fun fact.
Fun fact Friday.
45% of all YouTube videos now are actually watched on televisions, not on phones.
Because
that could change if they would put porn on YouTube.
Yeah, that is true. In the bathroom.
Oh my God.
I heard that stat maybe from you, or actually definitely from you. So I got on YouTube on my TV just to make sure our stuff looks okay on the TVs.
It's good enough.
It's good enough.
I listen to other podcasts.
How dare you?
I know. I listen to quite a few. And I recently had a trip to Atlanta, and I was listening to, I needed something that was compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Joe Rogan doesn't do that, but I will tell you, I did listen to all of Guy Fieri.
You did?
He's kind of interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
I skipped over that one.
He's kind of interesting. He has some douche noodle moments.
Well, yeah, like when he gets dressed every morning.
He was a little more interesting. I didn't know his story. Like, he made his own money. He didn't want to do that stuff. Like, he wasn't like trying to be a celebrity guy. Like, he just did it. Like, basically his buddies were like, "Hey Dale, you should go be on this show." And he's like, "I don't want to do it." And finally he did it and he won.
Oh, really? He won a show contest?
Yeah, he won he was on Next Food Network Star or some show.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that.
It was half interesting. But the podcast I was going to bring up was, I listened to a podcast that was on Sean Ryan, and it was a guy named Rocco. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of, if I've ever participated in pornography, the last thing I'm concerned about is the dude's name.
Oh, he was a porn star?
He was a porn star, now pastor.
Oh,
dude, it's like the stuff this guy talked about was like disgusting, cringy, made you feel terrible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
How he came out the other side. Like, it's brutal, but it was no different than your true crime podcast. I went down the pipeline of like, this is so horrific. I can't stop.
I can only, like, I haven't listened to that. I've listened to a lot of Sean Ryan's recently, but I can just imagine his dry voice. Like, so when you were doing the dong thing, was it weird when you came a pastor?
No. He said stuff.
Really?
I can't repeat it on this because we're not family friendly, but we're also not that far.
Jeez, Sean, dang.
Yeah, he went for it full sends. One of the things that stood out there that I thought was really funny is, after the guy left the industry, he thought he was okay because it's all pseudonyms. You don't use your real name.
Right.
He left the industry, thought he was okay, and then some guy walks up to him and is like, "Bro, aren't you Rocco, whatever his name was?" And it's like, first off,
that's weird,
right? Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I the way he made it sound that this guy was also not gay. I would understand if the dude was gay because that's what you're into.
Yeah.
Right. And I can only name like maybe Jenna Jameson.
Yes.
Jenna Jameson.
Uh-huh.
she's $1 million porn star. Like she obviously had a big business. And I remember Seika only because that was a girl that got it. And she turned out to be underage. I just remember being controversial in the 80s, 90s, whenever that was. And that's the two but I would never know a dude's name unless it's this guy. Mm-mm. And I would be walking up to him, not because I've ever seen him naked. I'd be walking up to him. I was like, I heard you on the Sean Ryan show.
Yeah, right.
Your testimony's really good. Your story's really interesting.
Yeah. Will you pray with me?
Yes.
Sean Ryan's awesome.
That dude, he brings on his guest list is wild.
Yeah. I listened to Tim Tebow on there for 3 hours.
I heard it was really good.
It's good. Here's my take. It might be a hot take.
Hot takes.
I can truly appreciate Tim Tebow as what he's doing.
Yeah.
His ability to use a platform positively. However, he has done the conversation that him and Sean Ryan had didn't fulfill what I wanted. I wanted it to be two dudes having a conversation. It turned into like Tim Tebow kind of just doing his pre-rehearsed, his storytelling. The stories are great. They're great, but you can tell that he's told those stories a million times. They're rehearsed and they're retold. Oh. And it became Tim Tebow passionately preaching his story, those stories that he was telling. And
gotcha.
They're okay. They're great stories. And they're done good, but it's just, you could tell that he's been paid to tell those stories a few times. But they do get in Tim Tebow and his wife that he subtly threw in there, how God put them in the same spot. She was Miss Universe, just to throw that out there.
Right.
So she wasn't there just doing good things for people. She's Miss Universe, but
they do something a lot with
sex trafficking.
Sex trafficking.
Yeah, that they get into that stuff at the end, and that for the last half hour or so it's pretty hard to hear, and it's pretty the one thing that Tim Tebow did say that in that part was people don't want he goes, I'm around a bunch of influential rich people that can do something about it, but they don't want to hear about it because they don't want to be burdened by it. He's be burdened by it. Because if you don't do it, don't look, it's the bystander effect. Who's just going to think somebody else is going to do it? So he's doing a lot with it.
Those two, he talked briefly about the Tim Tebow stuff. I just knew about the sex trafficking part, but he talked briefly about it. And when you hear that stuff, you start to realize that man, a lot of that stuff is just there are things, whether or not you enjoy looking at porn is your business, but there's a lot of negatives attached to that stuff that end up putting people in positions they shouldn't be in.
Yes.
No pun intended. And it was right
Karma
there.
Sutra.
Some low hanging fruit.
We are not the ones that should be educating people on how good or bad porn is, by the way.
No, we're the furthest thing from it.
That's why it's good. Let's go. Keep growing.
Yeah. So on this very special episode.
Yeah, this is a very
Dale
special
and
episode.
I, we have unearthed this file. Now you've probably seen the X-Files before. If you have, if you're of our listener demographic, I know you have at least one. What we have is the equivalent of the cigarette smoking man's files. We have the secrets of the universe in this box or bag.
That's right.
And what we're going to do is we're both going to draw one, and then we will have a discussion about whatever the topic is. Now, I have no idea what Dale's written, nor does he have any idea of what it could be. Both of his, could be both of mine, could be one of each if we're lucky. We have no idea. But inside of this, we're going to discuss it. Now, I will say there's a trigger warning at the beginning of this show for a reason. We don't know what each other wrote, and we don't know what each other is going to talk about.
If
we get political, just deal with it.
That's right.
It could happen.
We did run for president. You ran for president, me VP. So we're a part of the political spectrum. We are a part of a spectrum. Let's just say.
Yeah, we're definitely that. One of the things that bothers me about the VP president thing is you listen to a lot of true crime. So I started thinking about it. I was like, what if you didn't want to run for president because you assumed that would be just people would be like, oh, of course Dale's running for president. So you put the next most egomaniacal person in front of you, me. You listen to enough true crime that you're going to murder me.
I know how people get caught.
See? That's what I'm saying.
The thought has crossed my mind, not to kill you, but that there is somebody that listens to crime podcasts enough that they're killing people and not getting caught because they see how people get caught.
The easiest way to not get caught is to just not commit crimes.
Well,
what do I do? I don't have anything to listen to.
Depends on how sociopathic you are.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, then if we don't, we need crimes because I need podcasts.
Oh my God. That quote is just, You can tell it's the end of a work day.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go into the box.
Hey, the Secrets of the Universe is not held to just this podcast. We could open this box up again down the road. Down the road. Down the old road. Feel for Braille. I know how to read Braille.
You're trying to find your own answers?
I don't even know. These are
Secrets of the Universe.
Oh, no, this is one of mine. Because I
Secrets. Is it the scratched out one?
Scratched out one.
Oh, well,
back. I changed it at the last minute.
We can trade.
I don't
know.
It don't matter.
Okay.
You go first.
All right, here we go. The first one is...
It was one of yours?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We should have
traded.
First one is snakes. One story you have about snakes.
Oh, that's not hard because I hate snakes. They freak me out.
I see. I know enough about you to ask the relevant questions.
Man, the snakes on this motherfucking plane. No, that one didn't happen. But we were going fishing. Lake Erie is a big lake in Ohio, one of the Great Lakes, if you didn't know. So we go up there every year for Father's Day and go fishing on charter fishing boats, and walleye are the fish that we fish for up there.
So I want to understand this for 1 second because it is not something I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
You have.
Right.
I have seen the Great Lakes,
mm-hmm.
but I've never understood the concept that it's essentially the ocean,
mm-hmm.
just landlocked.
Very much so. And Lake Erie is the shallowest one of all of them. And so there's days that it's so rough you can't go out there, or you have to take Dramamine anyway because you'll get seasick.
There's like legit waves?
Oh, yeah, dude. It's crazy.
That's wild.
And you get so far offshore, there's no land. And it's probably the only way.
That is just wild.
It is nuts.
And there's like freighter ships and stuff.
Yeah. Because they can go up the Hudson River, I think, maybe.
On the Mississippi too, right? Doesn't the Mississippi go all the way up that way?
Yeah, it connects to the Ohio. The Ohio goes up to the Mississippi. But Lake Erie has a connection to New York, so they can get from the ocean all the way into Lake Erie.
That's how people in Chicago get their shit.
Yeah, straight through.
Right.
Well, Chicago's Lake Superior, I believe, or Lake Michigan. We are not geographically accurate.
But the lakes are not connected?
I'm just going to name all 5. No,
I see them up there on that map.
I don't think they're connected. I just live by one. I don't know.
All right. So,
Erie.
Lake Erie.
It is Serious Lake. It's massive. There's beaches and stuff. Like that's
how big are the charter boats?
Oh, they're big, dude.
Same like we have here?
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe even bigger, some of them.
What?
Yeah. The ones we went on were pretty big. Yeah, bigger. I went on bigger one in Lake Erie than I did here. They're big. It's big.
That's wild.
And they have the head boats. You know what a head boat is? Where there's like 2 levels and there's a ton of people can fish on it and you pay a smaller amount. We would just do like my grandfather, my dad, my uncle, his son, my brother, and I, like all dad thing. What
kind of fish do you catch in Lake Erie?
Walleye. That was what we were fishing for. Walleye. Walleye are these, it's like a flaky white fish that are, if you catch a 15-pound one, they're big. That'd be huge.
It's a bit, so they're bass level.
Yeah, but they're skinny and they have teeth. Yeah.
Will they bite you?
Yeah. So
like piranhas?
The lake that I grew up on has saugai, and saugai are a hybrid fish of sauger and walleye mixed that are stocked by the state. They don't reproduce. They say they don't reproduce. We think they do.
Oh, that's wild.
But they have teeth too, and they taste just like walleye. But they're really good to eat.
Okay.
And they have these little Vietnamese ladies that flay them when you get back.
What?
Yeah. It's crazy. They have these little fish shacks. You take all the fish that you caught on the charter, they'll fillet them for you and give you the fish back.
It's like third world country shit up in, it is
Ohio.
Ohio is third world country.
Yeah, and it's close to Cleveland, so Cleveland's third world country for sure.
I have a buddy that talks about Cleveland a lot. Yeah, go ahead. All right,
so back to the snake.
Yes, snakes.
So we are going out on this fishing trip, and we're all there, and all the guys are being tough. Like it's tough dad day. We're going to go fishing, and we get to the boat, and this guy's telling us like, hey, listen, we just had a kid come on here and fish with his dad, and he was taking the hook out of a walleye and literally got bit by a water moccasin and they were like offshore. So like got bit by a water moccasin that the fish had eaten that was still alive while he was taking the hook out. They had like rush him back. Listen, I don't know. I don't know if it was real or it was like a lore or like, cause I've heard that story again. And I was like, dude, I'm done. Like I ain't going out there. And all the dads are like, oh, that'll be awesome. I want to see a water moccasin. I do not. And so That was the scared day for Dale.
Did the kid die? You don't know.
I don't know. The guy,
because it's a lore. You
the
don't
charter
get the actual...
charter captain was telling us, and I was like freaking out the whole time. My dad's like, "Hey, you gonna take that fish off?" No, Dad, you are. It's Dad Day. Take my fish off, pal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was. That was one of the snakes. I got so many snake stories because I'm freaked out by them things.
So you won't like this then.
No, probably not. If it's
so
like Indiana Jones shit.
I got hired to do a documentary for Florida State, and part of what we were to do, so in this area of the world, the southeastern diamondback rattlesnake is very venomous, very deadly, relatively aggressive, and so we went to where's Florida State? Tallahassee.
Tallahassee. Shout out Nixon.
Oh, shout out Nixon.
Nixon.
He's the snake himself.
In the grass.
With some cider.
We heard you hung out with the soft member.
No, that's true.
Doing some snaky stuff.
He did some snaking stuff. He dropped him.
Oh.
So we're there, and the guy is like, he brings out, so he is a snakeologist, whatever that is, a reptilologist, reptilian.
From the land of reptile.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's some senator that just came out and said that, that just some legitimate person just came out and said that grays are real, that insectoid people that look like praying mantises are real, that lizard people are real, which are reptilians, and also the Norwegian people.
This is an elected official said this.
It was a CIA officer that said that to an elected official. Yes.
Ugh.
True stories. All right. So
we should just bomb Washington, D.C.
Don't say that. Don't say that. We're there, and the guy has a Southeastern, and we're just filming the Southeastern in its environment to show camouflage and how it disappears and the dangers of it or whatever. And he's like, hey, if you want, I'll take the camera and I'll swing it towards him and he'll strike it. And I was like, can I do it? Because I didn't know if the guy would get the shot. And he's like, let me do it. I've been bitten before. And I'm like, oh, okay, of course you have. So the dude takes the camera and he swings it towards the snake. And I don't know where the footage is. It's somewhere on the internet. And the snake coils up and it doesn't bite. And I was like, oh, okay, no worries. We tried. He was like, no. And he pisses the snake off, swings it in again. And that snake, I had a matte box goes in front of the camera. If you ever see a square thing in front of the camera, it's called a matte box.
Yeah.
And in that matte box, I had what's called a FX plate. It's just a clear piece of glass you put there to protect the lens. That snake hit that glass so hard, it chipped it. But then there was venom, a lot of venom all over the front of that.
Oh, my God.
And the guy goes, well, here's something really interesting. He takes his finger and he wipes the venom and eats it.
So that's the anti-venom.
Now, you can, so because venom has to enter your bloodstream to kill you or cause the problems, it's not going to enter your bloodstream. It gets into your body, your stomach acid, whatever, digests it and kills it. So he's like, do you want to do it? And I'm like, I mean, when else am I ever in my life going to taste snake venom? And my finger goes towards it. And right about that time, it occurs to me, I have GERD, which is acid reflux.
You're gonna get
and I was on Nexium, which means I had a hole burnt into my chest from acid reflux. I literally was going to swipe my finger and eat it and then die right there. And they're going to be like, how did he die? Well, he tasted snake venom. It wouldn't be a snake bite. I literally would have killed myself just so I could tell you that I tasted snake venom.
That's crazy.
That's a true story.
Were you hanging out with Rocco, the porn star? He had a snake venom. His snake venom.
So now anytime someone, what's that Good People beer, the snake bite?
Oh, yeah.
That's all I think about. I was like, what if it tastes like snake bite?
Dude, I'm glad I wasn't on that shoot because I would have just been like, all right, peace.
Yeah, you would have been out. Because the guy was just like handling all kinds. He had coral snake. He had all kinds of dangerous shit.
No, we were doing trail work day at Chicxulub one day, and David Wilson just picked a snake up and was letting my family pet it and shit. And I was like, get away from me, boy. Well, it was just a little green snake.
That's like Kevin Black.
Oh, yeah, Kevin Black. He loves the snakes. He does. He loves them. He loves them to wrap around him and get in there deep.
Yeah. Deep in that snake.
Oh, no, snake.
No, that is not for me. That is, there you go. Secrets of the Universe. That's one of the ones you learned. First off, if you're ever fishing for walleye, there could be a snake
check the
in
mouth
its mouth
first. I promise every fish I catch from then on, I check its mouth before I take. I'm like,
that is a horrifically scary story.
Yeah, it's terrifying. How many times have you taken fish off?
I don't even think
we were
twice
just
about
fishing
it.
the day.
Yeah.
You fished all day. You could have got bit by a snake.
An electric snake. Yeah, and then also don't taste snake venom if you have acid reflux.
Snake venom.
You could die.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's all weird. I mean, there's been other stories from down here, like Dog River. There was like pockets of water moccasins, so people would be water skiing, they'd fall off, and there'd be a pocket of moccasins, and allegedly the stories, they pulled them up, and there was just hundreds of snakes. I mean, they died, but there was just hundreds of snakes biting, like stuck in their legs. That's like a horror movie. That's like some Final Destination stuff.
I'm not going on that river.
See it in theaters.
We also it is come out. Yeah. In Ohio, we had no poisonous snakes that were like native to the whole state. So when we said we were moving to Alabama, literally, you don't know how many times I got asked, dude, what are you going to do about all the snakes and alligators? Seriously, people in Ohio, that's their biggest fear of the South. They don't, the South can't.
Well, we know if they're white, it ain't racism they're afraid of.
No.
Because that's where it is.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, that is true. But the people in the North are only afraid of snakes and alligators. Like, I've lived here for a few years now, and I haven't seen an alligator in the wild.
Who was it that did that? Maybe it was John Mackey that told us about that ride where you're in Florida.
Yeah, that's where he was when his stomach ruptured.
In a swamp with alligators?
Yes, waist deep at 1 a.m. carrying his bike.
We got to save that story. That's got to be on the show. We're gonna
he's got to come back.
The
last time he was on, he was telling us about getting hit by a car on his bike.
We only bring him on when there's an owl tragedy waiting to happen.
Yeah, we're more excitable about it than he is too. He's just like, yeah, man, I was out there. Shit happens.
God.
Yeah, he needs to come and tell that story because that's pretty incredible.
He's literally one of the toughest people I've ever met.
Yeah, and he's riding again. So
what a monster! Man. What a monster! All right, what you got?
All right, so that was about our fears or not fears of snakes or people snakes.
People snakes.
Well, we just
bad name.
We did the old Trump weave there.
Yeah.
we weaved.
That's a deep callback.
We weaved. All right, so this is one I wrote down. This was my retake too because I wrote one on the back, scribbled it out, and
he
refreshed.
Described it as, and we won't say, but he described it as something else.
Yeah, it was kind of not straight. All right, so where do you think the next 15 years will take us as a society or culture?
Oh my God, Gail, coming out of the gate with like the
philosophical and deep.
If I'm being candid, which is the purpose of these questions, is to not hold back. I actually think we're pretty fucked.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why is I'll give both sides. I think on the negative side, I think what I've observed over my 40, well, that's not true. Let's say when you're 20 years, when do you start giving a shit about life? That's a question.
When you have kids.
You think it's kids?
Mm-hmm. I think I didn't give two shits about anything until kids.
When did you have kids?
30, 29, 30.
So late 20s, early 30s. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I would say like 25 is the insurance age. We'll use 25.
Some people mortality hit when I had kids. How about that?
Yeah, of course. So I look at it, and on the negative side, the challenge I have is in 25 years is what I was asking. I'm almost 50. No, I'm 47. 22 years of my life since 25. We'll call that the age. I've noticed a very disturbing trend in which community, and I know we talk about it on this show, but I'm talking about your neighbor, literally your next door neighbor. I have seen you had a weird story with your next door neighbor. I have seen things decline in such a way that people are further and further distant and further apart. And I think the reason that I see that as being massively negative is because we've bubbled into such internal, even so some of it's protective and then some of it's not. Some of it's just is absolute greed. But I think because we've gone so inbound, I think what we're dealing with, whether it's political topics and we're talking about immigration, whether we're talking about poverty and we're looking at disparity between the rich and the poor, really comes down to the fact that no one gives a shit about another person anymore. It's very difficult to find people to actually care beyond that. And you may have it in a small friend group, but I'm talking about beyond that. I'm talking about like a tragedy may pull people together.
I just said this last night.
Your small town got kicked in the nuts.
Right. by a tornado. Yeah.
The townspeople may have banded together, but did the government actually come through and help out the people in that town?
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear that over and over again. Hawaii is still fudged. LA is still fudged.
North Carolina.
North Carolina is still fudged. All these places are just completely, I don't know why I said fudge, are completely fucked. And the government is supposed to step in and help, and they don't, because community is dead, because to them, it's more about their individual needs than that of the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't give a shit if you're a Trumper. He doesn't give a shit either.
Mm-mm.
That's evident. Just
Neither
in
did
language.
Biden, for that matter.
No, Biden didn't either. None of them do.
Right.
Zero politicians care.
No, because it's a pawn in a game. You can take away that pawn, there's no more, or you take away that.
I might say that maybe there's a little bit of care from Bernie Sanders, and you might have some care out of Tulsi Gabbard, but again, they get shut down, so what's it matter, right? So then on the positive, so the negative side is that then you look at the idea of social media, that just amplifies that process. Social media alone, it gives a false sense. So and we've learned this recent term, we learned about phantom accounting, which is like if you look at your spreadsheet or your budget and you're like, oh, dude, everybody does it. You look in your checking account and you're like, I got like $5,000 in my account, right? But you haven't processed all the way through all of the things that are about to roll out. So you think that you have that. So you may make a purchase based on assumption of $5,000, or I'm going to get this extra money. None of it's real, right? So that's the same thing. So what's happened on social media is there's a phantom community that exists. Oh, we have these communities. It's not real.
Right.
You're not sharing anything more than just half-ass of what it is. So I think we're screwed on that side. Now, to give the converse to that, I think the only saving grace could be, believe it or not, this younger generation, the kids, we've talked about it before. I'm talking about the kids that are like 19, 20, maybe even just the kids graduating. We're in graduation season. Those kids seem to, there's an opportunity for them, and some of them seem to not give a shit about the way the world is. They want to change it. And they don't want to change it in some hippy dippy DEI shit. They want to change it to be like, hey, I think things are weird. I feel lonely. I don't want to feel lonely. I want to go after something else. There's a ton of kids that are attempting to even change the idea of like the alcohol sales are down and non-alcohol is on the rise. And now there's NA bars where you go to the bar and it's just basically a coffee. We called them coffee shops when I was a kid, but they want to have, so they're at least striving for better, healthier mental state, not to make as many stupid decisions. I think there's a chance that the next generation may come through and say, wait, we're going to rebuild community. But to do that, they're going to squeeze the heads of all these other people like Pimples and get them the fuck out of the way, because they're just going to bulldog us through. By the time it happens, we're going to be those old people.
Yeah.
This is what it is. So I think there's a more negative to me than positive, because I just feel like everyone's super selfish. But I 15 years, dude, America, I'm not going to say America's gone, but I do think we will definitely, the remnants of what we talked about, that what we've grew up with, will be long dead.
Okay.
Either way, they'll be dead. What do you got?
I have discussed some things. I'm not going to say I disagree with you, because I do agree with you that culture is changing, it's shifting. It has always shifted, but I also think that we struggle with recency bias towards how bad things are.
Yeah.
And I was trying to tell my mom this the other day, and she was like, oh my God, there's just so many sex offenders and so many this and so many that. And I was like, she's like, it wasn't like that when you were kids. Like, yes, it was. They didn't just start. Like, it was already there. We just have more information readily available now. I said, she grew up in a small village. I said, you only knew the information that small village had from a little bit bigger village right outside of you. Now we have every single thing from around the world instantaneously.
Right.
So now the world seems like it's terrible. Like, because you're only hearing about the very bad things all the time.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Right.
If it bleeds, it leads. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're only hearing about that so much. But I also think that we've become so desensitized to every single thing, because it's that we just talked about the bystander effect. Like, every single thing is the biggest thing, but it's like, oh, it happened yesterday. What? So what? Another plane crash. So what? Like, it's, I hate that it has happened, but the best time, it's really bad. Not after 9/11, like like the way the world saw each other and the people, like that tragedy, we've forgotten about it so quickly. Like, the way everybody looked at each other, like we're all one person or one country, like we got to stand behind each other. And I feel like I don't want another tragedy to happen, but it's almost like we need a factory reset. Like, we need a like I thought COVID was a factory reset, but so quickly we've already got back into that. Our lives are so busy, we don't know what to do with it. Like, did we not learn anything about not that we learned stuff from COVID, but I'm saying like culturally, like how many times did you hear during COVID, like, man, it's so nice to just be able to relax and spend time with my family, or so nice to pick up a new hobby because I don't have to be here and here and here. And I just told my wife this last week when we're going to all these end of the year programs and all this end of the year sports and all these different things. And I'm like, did we not learn anything as a society? Like, we don't need all of these different things all the time to just take up all of our time. We need to slow down and like enjoy the things that we do have, because now it's like, I want to celebrate my daughter doing good in different classes, but we don't have to have a program for every single class at the end of the year. Like it's just watered down, and it's like, it's the culture has shifted to, we have to constantly tell everybody how good they are at what they're doing, or how good of job they were at teaching my child, or how good of job they were at in that class. It's like, okay, what if I go to my daughter's last of the year dance recital and she sucks? Am I not allowed to be like, what did you do all year? You suck.
Right. Like,
is it too hard to tell the teacher, did you not teach her? Everybody there is celebrating mediocrity. Is that a word?
Yep.
Yeah. They're celebrating it. And it's like, no, we could have done better than that.
Right.
But it's just so watered down. It's like, you're not allowed to tell anybody they did anything wrong. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking in circles, but it's like, I just look at it this way, like, slow down. Life, you don't have to be at every single thing you're invited to. You don't have to be at every single thing that you're expected to be at. Pick and choose, be selective, take your family to do something and let those people be mad you didn't show up, or something like that. Like, I get it. Like, there's so much stuff thrown at us.
It is kind of interesting. Just the idea, what you're referring to though, is like that whole concept of, because you're right. Because during the pandemic, we all appreciated, like, I appreciated checking on people, checking on my neighbors. It did force us back in the community, because there was noise, but the noise was like, just push it to the side, because I just needed to escape it for a second. And now we embrace it.
Yeah.
We embrace the noise as part of our lives. And it just seems like we're missing that.
The static is just in our heads, man. Instead of letting the actual sound come through, all we hear is static, and the static controls our whole movements. And it's because of social media, and we're being led by fake shit.
Yeah.
You're being led by Johnny's happy family life that he just hates his life. You're being led by Steve's new car that he just got that isn't that really, he's got 5,000 payments. You're being led by all this fake things that it's like, man, I like social media because it keeps me in touch with people I wouldn't otherwise call or text, and that's fine. And it is an addiction for me. I'm not even going to lie. I'm on it all the time. But can you imagine if we turned social media off for a year for everyone? Like, it would make you have to talk to people. And it's so, you see it in customer service related industry now. Like, people don't even want to talk to you at restaurants. We gave a girl at B-Dubs the other day an extra tip because she had a conversation with us, and she was like of that younger generation. She was like talking to us like a normal human. And I was like, damn, she's getting a tip just for that. Like, I don't care if our food's cold. Like, I don't, so it's like, I try to do a conscious, like, talk to people that don't look like they want to be talked to, because and when I'm at the park every morning running, I say hi, good morning to every single person I pass. And it's a thing that we've gone away from. And I think it's going to kill, like you said, it's going to kill our culture community wise in the future if we don't get a grip on it now. And I'm trying to teach our kids that.
I wonder if a little bit of I wonder how much of it is American, if that's a wholly an American problem, because because
we're not
the Chinese propaganda though is like that. They shut off TikTok at a certain time and all this stuff. And look, there's bad shit over there. Like, I get it, but there's that side. I was at a wedding Sunday evening, and my buddy married a girl that is Iranian, and so she is in the States, visa. Her brother is here, and he's much older, and he was the officiant. Her dad's passed away since then. This guy's very affluent. Like, I kind of think he's a spy. He's very affluent. His wife's very affluent, and we're sitting there having a conversation. And this is a gentleman that came from Iran. He's got to be in his maybe mid to late 50s based on just sort of how he looked.
Yeah.
So he grew up in Iran during the bad shit, like the really bad stuff. It's bad now, but it's like the really aggressive stuff. So he escapes to the U.S. And so I didn't get a story, but I'm sure there's some element of that aside from that's his spy cover story, but still, like, there's some element. And he was saying to me, and this is a foreigner, he said, the craziest thing to me is America is so beautiful and people don't even know what's going on in half of it. They never bothered to go explore. He was like, I've been to the Swiss Alps. Colorado is equally as gorgeous.
Right.
And I was like, well, have you been to Montana? He goes, no, but you know why they call it that? I was like, no, why? He goes, well, Montana means it's all mountains. I was like, right. I know that.
Yeah.
Right. But this guy it's a foreigner's perception who's lived in this country, and he's wealthy enough to live in Orange County. Pat, shout out Pat, probably Pat's neighbor. But he knows and respects the fact that this country is so diverse and so amazing, so unique. He sees it through the lens of like, this is a beautiful place. And I think we have forgotten that because of some of the social media and the negativity,
struggle.
The noise, and there's no struggle on that side. And he sees it that way. It just brings in perspective. Like a lot of times I think people will think, well, in Europe, it's great. And he also brought up that. He was like, listen, let me tell you, Europe is no different. Now, this is a guy that's probably going to experience some level of, not maybe always racism, but he's going to have some level.
Because we have a preconceived notion of what Iranians are doing here.
100%.
They're spying.
Right.
Yeah. Whatever.
So, and I'm at an Iranian wedding. I'm like, there was zero denomination. There was no mention of God or Allah. There were some of the women, it was rad to hear it. They were doing like, la, 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 la. Like they did that, like that's like a cheer type thing. There was a couple of different traditions. None of them were weird. The food was fucking outstanding. Some of the best shit ever. And the guy got excited because they had a plate. And this is a cultural thing for there. I didn't know that was an Iranian thing, but like Pat may know about some of this stuff, but like, a lot of places when you cook rice, the bottom of the rice gets kind of crispy on the bottom. Most people in the States don't want that. They call that burnt and gross. That is the best chip you'll ever eat in your entire life. It's amazing. Right. They had a plate where they had this woman cooked all the food. She had scraped all those out. So there was just a plate of chips of nothing but rice from the bottom. Like you only get that in paella if you're lucky. Right. And I was eating it and he was like, you eat that? He was like, I've never met an American that cares about that. I was like, well, I do. I'm a fat kid.
I'm a big back.
I think to your point, like we have so much noise and there's so much static that we can't even hear the beautiful song that is playing in just of our own country and the people's voices that make it unique. The fact is, yes, we have some tainted, shitty history. We've got some shit with slavery. We've got some shit with immigration now. We've got some shit that whites did. We got some shit that other people did. We've got shit that people are doing right now that is so bad to other human beings that we don't care. We just mask it under some other discriminatory bullshit.
Yeah.
We're missing the song of like, this place is beautiful. And we have the ability to have cell phones and other shit that are being made by the poorest people in the world that are given to us, and we don't think twice about it, or we tell somebody else they're wrong for driving a diesel truck when they're driving a battery that costs 10 kids their lives to get. That's the stuff that to me that's just bizarre. Because
we're so petty. Like we're entitled, we're selfish. We live our lives by. I think
1/4 mile at a time.
Yeah,
it's family.
Not double clutching, shifting like a granny, whatever he says. I live my life 1/4 mile at a time. But I love. So I went to a mountain bike race a couple weeks ago, the Glitter Duster.
Yeah.
Shout out.
That's
Jody.
a good way to just work that in. Go ahead.
Yeah. But the mountain bike, if you sign up for a mountain bike race or a mountain bike event and you go to it, you race and you leave, you're an asshole. Right. I'm saying that right now because you're missing the whole entire point of the race. The point of the race is community. It's not for you to go PR and get a medal that no one gives a fuck about.
Right.
It's about like hanging out with like-minded people without your phone, sitting around a fire, enjoying people's company, getting to know people that you didn't know the day before, hearing their story, respecting their story, listening to their story, and then becoming friends, and you never know what can happen. I promise you that 99% of the people that I know came from a ring of fire, a burning ring of fire.
Yeah.
Some of them were at an STD clinic, but it doesn't matter. It was a burning ring of fire. But no, for real, that's the point though. Like when you leave an event like that was built to entertain you, you're almost flipping the bird to the people that built that event to entertain you.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to camp, you don't have to love it, but get to know somebody that you didn't know when you went there.
Yep.
Like they're part of your larger community.
Well,
they're already there.
You instantly have something in common.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're already there doing what you do wherever you're from. Just get to know some other people, man. That's what he's saying. Like we're losing that part of culture. You can help a different community in some way, or you can help somebody like not that you have to kiss the ass of the person that had the event. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like enjoy the culture that's around the event. And then, by the way, once you get back from that, you're like, damn, that was fun. It's like a drug. I want more of it. Then you go out to a different community.
But that's it. That's the crazy part. All you're wanting is connection with another human being.
Without their phone.
Because human beings require connection to live.
Right.
A baby not touched will eventually die.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because you didn't feed it, because it needs that loving touch. That is like, it's the concept of nurturing that we have thrown out the window. We still need it as adults. Mm-hmm. We were talking about just other stuff, but we've both been talked about the stuff before, like the silent suffering of men sometimes, because we're not allowed, but we don't give a shit. We just say what we're going to say. Right. You got to have that conversation.
What is it? Thoreau comment? Most men live lives of quiet desperation.
That's correct. Wow. I mean, let me tell a quick story about Dale. The other day, he couldn't even get one. I can't remember what the word was, but it was something really simple. And he conflated this word into something absolutely had nothing to do with whatever he was trying to say.
I forget what it was.
And yet, you guys have heard him do it. And yet, this motherfucker just drops Thoreau.
That's just me listening to a lot of podcasts over and over. I think there's a certain Rogan episode that he says it like 48 times.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it is true. I mean, you can. I didn't know this until I moved here, that I was living quiet desperation. Like I had money.
Yep.
I had a house. Yep. I had a beautiful wife and kids, but I was desperately searching for something that I didn't even know I was searching for.
Right.
I don't have money. I barely have a house. I still have a beautiful wife and kids.
I was about to say, you better hone in on that one, buddy.
But I'm happier.
Right.
Like I'm more fulfilled as a human. Like I don't need money and I don't need somebody to tell me how fulfilling it is. It makes me a better friend. It makes me a better person to be around when I can, except for on race day. If I'm at a race,
he's a douche.
After the race, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
But before the race,
we all know it.
But so it's,
and during,
but it is contagious. It's a contagious thing. Like if you're around somebody that's happy to be around other people, it's awesome. It's like, hey, I go to baseball now and I'm like, hey, we can talk to other baseball dads and like baseball things. I don't know, man. It's crazy how it's contagious. And it's our generation that has to change it, honestly, because we're the first big time internet generation. I think the boomers children are in front of us and those are our parents.
The boomers don't know what they're doing.
No, the boomers
I fixed my mom's phone. I don't even know how many times. God love her. She deletes shit on her phone. I don't even know how she will literally destroy.
And then blame it on the phone.
Oh yeah, dude. She'll disconnect.
Not my mom, but
no email. Everything will be broken. Mm-hmm. I didn't do anything. It's like, well, it doesn't just do what.
But there's a guy in India that's going to help me. I sent him some money.
It happened.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
she did it.
Man,
she sure did.
We are funding the Indonesian India culture.
Yes.
Whatever.
See?
I don't know. See, I don't
Thoreau,
know anything.
India culture. There it is.
Yeah, but I don't know. I see it as my duty as a father, or my duty as a leader of a community. If I am a leader of anybody I'm around, I want to lead them towards the right way. Yeah. I'm an asshole. I say dumb shit. I like to make jokes and we have fun with it. But there is a thing that it's like, man, be responsible for not only yourself, but for the future. You know, like we are the future. It's don't look for somebody else to do it. We have to do it. Like whatever it is, it's not going to suck. I mean, we have all the tools that no culture before us has ever had as many tools as us. No culture in front, our kids are going to have tools. My son knows how to use AI, bro. Like we didn't have AI.
No.
And so we have to just help him use those tools wisely and responsibly and understand the effects of what life was like without it, what life could be like with it, and make sure that it's going to be used wisely and help make our culture prosperous and effective. And I mean, we were supposed to be on hoverboards and shit right now, and we're not. So the culture before us fucked us. That's what I'm saying.
Just on to this, I will tell you, having now spent a good amount of time in the world of AI, I'm not talking about just generating cartoon pictures of myself or whatever else.
Action figures.
Yeah, action figures. I've done that too. I've spent enough time in AI to say that, like, look, it is a absolutely 100% legitimate tool. And if you're not using it, here's the concern. Don't use it because it's a trend. Use it because it is literally going to be the way it goes. The reason why is like it's kids are going to understand how to cut time and workload in half, and it's going to make them seem more lazy. They're just going to be more optimized. And my hope is, to your point about everything else, I very clearly earlier this year, I pray every day, but one of the things I prayed for was wealth, and that some people are like instantly, the Southern Baptists that listen to this are clenching their buttholes, afraid about it. But the wealth in which I pray for is not wealth of money.
Right.
If I get that, that's great. The wealth I want is to make sure that is for me to remember that the only thing that matters is time, and the wealthiest life is one that you get to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I know plenty of rich people that have absolutely ruined their lives, their children's lives. They have tons of money,
Mm-hmm.
but they destroyed everything in their path to get there. I would much rather be wealthy to no end, knowing that like I can have an experience with my family.
Right.
I sold a bunch of bikes to go to Disney World. I can do whatever it is. That stuff is well worth it to me to see my kids or my 75-year-old mother on every roller coaster there. Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's wealth, right? Not the money to get there. Cause
Mm-hmm.
I sold everything, but the wealth of having that time and being cognizant of, I think is well worth it.
To your point, wealth is not money, because the most wealthy I've ever felt in my life was not spending money.
Yep.
Like as around a fire, or was taking my kids. We've done this thing the last couple of years. Like they get one Christmas gift that's valuable, and then we go do something, multiple things throughout the year. Like, hey, this was part of Christmas. Like we're going to take random. A couple weeks ago, we went and stayed in Biloxi overnight in a hotel and went to games and stuff like that. And it's like that stuff feels wealthy, even though you might have to check your bank account before you go. It doesn't matter, because you feel like the feeling you get from that is, I feel like I see so many people wasting their way on their phones, wasting their life. Like every single time I hear, I don't have time to ride my bike. That's fucking bullshit. Give me your phone. You have 8 hours a week. You're on your phone 8 hours a day or whatever it is.
Yeah,
like
you pull up the screen time.
Don't look at that. Yeah. The screen time, drop it. Like your priorities are fucked. Like my priorities are fucked because I know my screen time's trash. I'm working. Okay. I'm working. But it's like, that's the thing. Like there's always, your priorities have got to switch. Like our priorities during COVID were our family because we were scared. Get back to that.
Yeah.
Put God, family, and then your other things after.
Yeah.
In whatever order you want.
As an employer, I would say work.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
If my employees listen to this show, go back to work.
Right. But so I think our priorities are so out of order. It's like partially because of social media. Like people don't even put God first, which I believe that
I think people put social media first.
Hell yeah, because
it's themselves. It's a mirror.
You know how many people go to church on Sunday to take a picture so they could post on social media and say that they put God first? No, you put God second, because not even second. You want to have that image that I went to church, I'm a good person. Here's a picture. Well, you're holding a $7 coffee you bought in the church's coffee shop. Like, don't get me started on that whole thing. That's another
question. It's probably in the Secrets of Life box.
Oh man, I don't even know about that. I'm not the guy for that one.
No, I'm with you. I think it's fascinating that the one upside is, and this is why I was saying there's a little bit of positivity because of us at least being conscious of it. We may not be able to, and I've said this forever. You and I, the listeners of this podcast, none of us can change the world. What we can do is influence the community around us and hope that our influence is so good that then the people in that community influence somebody else in another community. And that's how you can change the world. The idea of, what's that? Greta Gearberg. What's the weird environmental chick?
Yeah, I just seen a
Greta
angry face picture.
Greta Earwig, whatever her name is. That girl, she came out and said, I'm going to change it. Well, no, you're not. Because at the end of the day, I love your passion, but you went about telling everyone they're wrong instead of saying like, hey, let's work together. Here's some, like, it's just basic leadership.
That's politics.
To do that. It's 100%.
Have you seen every time you disagree with one side of politics? I hate him. I hate how he does it. I hate it. Okay, what's a viable option?
Right.
What's the alternative solution to that? I've never heard it.
Right.
It's just, we need a different one. Well, it's going to happen in 4 years. You're going to be happy. And then you're going to be mad. Stop letting politics control your emotions. How about that?
Yeah.
That's another topic. I got blasted on Facebook because I put that. What do you mean? You're not going to, you got to watch because then they're going to end up at your door with guns. And if you're not paying attention, I never said don't pay attention. I said stop letting emotions be a part of the control of it. Like, half you people are going to be happy and half are going to be mad. Every 4 years, it's going to change. And those people that are getting elected don't give a fuck about you. I'm sorry to tell you. They don't care. They really don't. They don't care. They don't care. They're the greatest people in the world. They don't care.
Right.
Like I don't know, man. It's go hug your neighbor. Like you started off this whole thing with. It's frustrated to me, and obviously I get fired up about it. That's why I put it in there, because it's like we just don't care. We need to care a little bit. And I don't think I know you said we don't change the world, but have you ever sat back and thought, like, take Drew Hall out of the equation? Think of all the things you've changed.
Right.
You've changed film. You've changed people's lives in film. So like we can change the world.
But what I'm saying is if we have that right attitude and we observe that portion, then you realize that by doing that, the goal is to say, start small.
Yeah, right.
Because the smallest step is the one that can lead to the biggest output. But like just burning all your energy to fucking flip it all over, you're not going to get there. It's impossible. But the task of saying, like, wait a second, let's go another level and let's see what that affects. I think that's where the shift.
I taught that to tie this into another conversation.
Okay, here we go.
Somebody asked me this weekend about Samba and like why join Samba? Why do we need all these people, or who do we need there, or whatever? And I'm like, listen, if we only have 70 people, all we need is like a person to bring another person. That's 3 more people. Like, no, that's only one. No, it's 3, if not more, because that one person is going to tell some other person and some other person. And then it just grows exponentially. Like 70 of us is only 70, but 140 of us is 500 of it. It grows exponentially once it starts growing, and you can't just look at what it is now. You got a bigger picture at everything. It gets frustrating with that, but that's a whole other topic too.
Yeah, that's a whole separate scenario. I was just going to mention, in light of all this stuff, I did want to shout out the trail that Toby and Rock Solid have built for everyone. It is literally a trail for everyone.
It's the most inclusive trail.
It is literally the most inclusive trail. I actually, when I was filming, I was over there filming. I put some stills up, but we were over there filming. I saw lots of mountain bikers. I saw adaptive riders, which is always good to see. And then I saw some little kids, which was good to see. And then I'm watching all those people, and they're all on mountain bikes. They all have suspension of some sort. Here comes a human being riding a road bike.
Nice. And
they were literally, I have footage somewhere of them on, it wasn't a gravel bike. It was a road bike because of what Toby had built. He said it's for everyone. So now a roadie was on that track. That is a level of community building. You build a trail like that. It doesn't mean that it needs to be for everyone. It's just that it is for everyone. Right.
Yeah.
And if you can start, it doesn't mean that I want to ride only that trail either. But suddenly you open up the door for a lot of people. And I think if we started thinking in terms of that, like, hey, what can you do that is accessible? Why do we have to be divided? Does this need to be a divisive moment? Probably not. Is it an opportunity to let more people be involved? Absolutely. And to the point of this off number, if those people are on your bus and they're disrupting your bus and destroying it, get them off your bus because they're not the right people for your community, and you keep going forward and you'll find new people and you pick up more, fill their seats and keep going. Right. I think that's the kind of thing. But that trail alone, and it's not a plug for it. Toby doesn't pay us anything anymore. But if you haven't gone over there, it is very interesting to see. It is a fun trail, but it's very interesting to know that anybody can ride that trail.
Toby is definitely somebody that leads from the front.
100%.
And you can see his passion whenever you see him stand in front of a large crowd of 300 plus, 400 plus people that are there to see something that he got told no.
Yep.
Like, his story is amazing to me anyway. I mean, we've told it on here before, and there's a documentary about it, I think. So he's somebody that is an inspiration to us. And I wouldn't know Toby if it wasn't for me being a jackass with a flag and putting it up in his parking lot. But I've also spent a ton of time with the real Toby Cortez around a campfire, and we've gotten to talk about some awesome things. And that kind of stuff to me is invaluable. Like the conversations that we've had man to man or group to group is you can't replicate that stuff. And it's like, you have to put yourself in positions, and at that fire, no one's checking anybody's bank account. Right. It doesn't matter. Wealth is you're there. Right. You had time. You made time for me to tell you a story that's worth it to me. I mean, that's as rich as you can be.
Yeah, it's wealth.
It's wealth. That's right.
That's exactly it.
It's wealth.
Maybe we'll name this episode "How to Be Wealthy," and we'll just troll the shit out of people so they'll listen to the show. We have good listener base. I'm just saying. Like,
I think that was a joke that I got that you might not know it was a joke that you said I'll tell you later because we can't put it on here because we are not a part of a 90s boy band.
Well, it's always fun when we have that stuff. All right. Well, I'm just going to say that it was a delightful episode. We got 2 topics in.
Hey, we still have the file of.
Yeah, there's more.
There's more. Whenever we, our schedules are, we say this all the time, but it's for real. Like this next few months with travel and travel baseball, bike events. And
we're trying to get we have some other guests we've said that before too. We're working on all of it. We'll have some stuff. What we don't want to do is just talk in circles about sprockets. That's just not what we're into. All right. Well, if you have not seen the stickers that we are selling to help fund this show and yourself with joy, you should check those out. They're on the Facebook page. That's the best place to get them. There's lots of social media content out there, but if you want to come to a community, I think our community is pretty good. I've seen people help each other. I think that's a plus. But if you'd like to hang out on that side of it, great. If not, you can send a self-addressed stamped envelope to 1234 Go Fuck Yourself Way. Remember that? Remember that from back in the old days?
Yeah. Self-addressed stamped envelope to all of our favorite cartoons and stuff. Yeah, it was awesome. I did that to the Chicago Bulls. I still got it.
Did Michael write you back?
Hell no. I got this self-addressed Chicago Bulls letterhead thing about we love you as a fan, blah blah blah. I thought I was trying to get Jordan.
Well, you got something.
I got Jordan adjacent.
Well, apparently, I don't know. I was going to make a Brett Favre joke.
I also got put on a list of being stalkers of Michael Jordan, I'm sure.
It's probably got you somewhere.
Yeah. Just by an Iranian
But then he
guy.
sees your investment into all of his crap and he's like, oh, you're one of the good ones.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's not right.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Ride Rebellion Podcast. Just remember what Dale Boyd says.
I'm stepping off my soapbox right now.
Stay stepping up to step out.
Stepping out.
All right. Goodbye.